Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Mel and today we're going to be doing a You Choose My Paranormal Romance TBR. So Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy has done quite a few of these, her last one being a vampire TBR, so I will link that down below so that you guys can go check it out. But essentially what you're going to be doing is giving me a TBR for paranormal romance. So I used to read a ton of just paranormal urban fantasy romance back in the day when I was a teenager, and I had so many of them still just kind of sitting around on my shelves that I thought, what better time of year to either read for the first time or reread some of these to see if I actually like them or if they hold up to the test of time. And I know that that is something that's not super talked about on BookTube anymore. It's kind of been shoved aside a little bit in favor of more like KU type romances, but I wanted to give these older books some love and hopefully you guys can help me out with that. So I'm going to give you a huge list of books. Please don't feel like you need to pick the ones that I own, but some of them are newer KU releases. I am going to include some of those, but a lot of these are old and I can get them super cheap. So just tell me down in the comments which ones you want me to read, because in order to do this I have to like Control F and search for the name of all of the books, and however many times it comes up is how many times that it's been voted for. If you tell me not to read a book, then it's going to count as a vote for a book, if that makes sense. So only let me know down in the comments which ones you want me to read. You can pick as many as you want. It's just however many get the votes are the ones that I'm going to pick for this video. And then later on in the month of September or October, I'm not exactly sure when the video is going to go up, I'm going to read the top 2 or 3 books that you guys choose and let you know my thoughts on them. So I guess that's probably enough housekeeping. Let's just jump into the video. So the first one is a old school one. This is not my copy actually. I don't know what happened to my copy and this one is just beat to crap, but that is Stray by Rachel Vincent. This is a werewolf urban fantasy romance, and it's about our main character that is like a all-American grad student, and she is a werecat shapeshifter. She's escaped her family and the pressures of the Pride, but now she's about to have to go back into that world. I remember really enjoying these back in the day. I was looking at the Goodreads reviews and it gets terrible Goodreads reviews, but I remember having a really good time with this series. There was a male werecat romantic interest that was really a lot of fun, so this is one of them on the list. Then we have one that is super well known, everybody loves, Guilty Pleasures by Laurel K. Hamilton. I read the first 8 or 9 of these and then they started to go into like polymorphous orgies all the time, and so I just kind of stopped reading them, but the first ones were really good. This is about Anita Blake, who is a vampire hunter. When one of the most powerful vampires in the city comes asking for her help, Anita is faced with facing her greatest fear, a hunger for a man that she cannot have. So I remember liking this one too. So that's the next one on the list. Then we have Touch the Dark by Karen Chance. This one is one that I don't remember a whole lot about. There is a huge series of these going on now, and it is about a clairvoyant main character that gets roped up into like a vampire gang type thing. It does have ghosts, it has vampires, it has, I want to say some necromancy, but I can't really remember for sure. Like I said, I enjoyed this one. It is a really long series, but I would be excited to see if it's something that I enjoyed again. One that I am going to put on here, but just please keep in mind that some of these are more popular than others, and I want to spread the love a little bit. I have read this series. I need to continue in the series, but this is for the first book only. Now, it's Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. Love this series. I've actually met J.R. Ward once or twice, and I'll pop up the picture from when I hung out with her up here somewhere. She's super funny and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If you don't know what Dark Lover is about, it is about the Black Dagger Brotherhood, who is, they're all vampires, but they're against the Omega, which is kind of a demon-like thing that is sending his unsouled to wreak havoc on the world. It's set in New York City, and we have our main character Beth in this one, who has no idea what kind of world she's living in and falls in with the leader Wrath. I think my favorite is the third one so far, but we've still got a long way to go. I'm really behind in the 20 books of this series, but loved it, would like to revisit it at some point. Is today that day? You tell me. And the last one that I physically own is one that was gifted to me by Melissa, so thank you so much, Melissa, and that is Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. And the tagline of this one says, "What's the worst thing that can happen to a werewolf?" When one of our main characters is unable to shift for 3 months, he now knows this all too well. And in order to solve this problem, he has got to enlist the help of a powerful witch. I've heard good things about this book. I know that it is a series, and Melissa really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping that I will as well if you tell me to read it. Then we have another oldie, and that is Pleasure Unbound by Larissa Ione. This one, if I remember correctly, is a little bit more on the erotic side than some of the others. It is about a demon slayer who has a lot of carnal hungers, and when she needs to prove loyalty to her peers, she has to slay the doctor that saved her life. I don't remember much about this one. I remember liking it, but that's all I got out of this one. And then we have one that is a little bit newer, and that is My Soul to Take by Harley LaRoe. Becca and Steph just recently read this one and absolutely loved it. Becca said it gave her like old school YA urban fantasy paranormal romance vibes, but for adults, so that had me really intrigued. And I believe this follows Leon, who has earned his reputation amongst magicians because if you make one wrong move, he kills you. But he is supposed to take and kill Ray, but he can't do it. The cult that once controlled him wants him to take her, but he is not going to lose his new toy to them. And then we have Ray, who's always believed in the supernatural. She's always hunted after ghosts, but summoning a demon was never part of her plan. All she knows is that she has one shot to survival. The demon doesn't just want her body, he wants her soul. Sounds good. Like I said, Becca and Steph loved it, so is this one that I'm going to be reading? Then we have The Darkest Night by Jenna Showalter. This one is another oldie, and it is about the eternally cursed lords of the underworld. All her life, Ashwin has been tormented by voices from the past, but in order to end this nightmare, she goes to Budapest seeking help from men rumored to have supernatural abilities. She doesn't know that she's going to be swept into the arms of Maddox, who is the most dangerous member, a man trapped in a hell all of his own. This series I remember being a lot of fun. I have read the first couple, but again, these, when I say I've read these, a lot of them were like 10 years ago probably, maybe even longer than that. So I don't remember anything about them. I can remember if I hated them or if I vaguely enjoyed them. This one was one that I remember vaguely enjoying. Next up, we have one that I actually remember enjoying quite a lot, and that is Halfway to the Grave by Janine Frost. This follows our main character, Catherine, who is a half vampire, and she is going after the undead with a vengeance, trying to kill her deadbeat father who ruined her mother's life. But then she's captured by Bones, who is a vampire bounty hunter, and is forced into an unholy partnership. I remember loving the banter and the relationship between these characters so much, and I'm excited to see if reading it now, if I would feel the same way that I did then, or if it was one of those relationships that doesn't really stand the test of time, but the banter I remember being so good in this one. Next up, we have one of the newer Kindle romances. That is Amelia Hutchins. There are two different series that we could go with for this one. The first one is Flames of Chaos, which is part of the Nine Realms series. It is about Arya and her sisters that return to the human realm, Haven Falls, to find one of their own has gone missing. They soon discover that things have changed and nothing is what they seem anymore. But when she encounters Nox, sparks begin to fly. He has ulterior motives for being in Haven Falls and never expected the little witch to show back up, brazenly challenging his rule. That sounds interesting. It sounds like a enemies to lovers romance, which you know I enjoy a good enemies to lovers romance. And the other is the Fae Chronicle series. The first one is Fighting Destiny. And I've heard really good things about this series, but I know that it is astronomically long, which is a little bit intimidating. But this is about Fae, beautiful, magical, deadly, with a love of messing with humans just for kicks and giggles. What started out as a strange assignment leads to one of the most gruesome murder mysteries of our time, and she and her friends are determined to figure out who is killing off Fae and witches alike. She does have a couple of problems with this though. She hates the Fae, and the Prince of Dark is bound and determined that she work for him. Again, like I said, heard really good things. Becca's Discord read the series a few months back and we're all raving about it, so I'm interested to see what all the fuss is about. Then we have another oldie but a goodie, and this is also a really long series. It's the Dark Hunter series by Sherilyn Kenyon. The first one, I believe, is Fantasy Lover. And I love the tagline for this one. It says, being trapped in a bedroom with a woman is a grand thing. Being trapped in hundreds of bedrooms over 2,000 years isn't. And being cursed into a book as love slave for eternity can ruin even a Spartan warrior's day. I don't remember reading this book, but I do remember reading Acheron, I believe, which is way later down in the series, and that book broke my heart. It was so hard to read. I know I've read it once or twice. It's been so very long ago, so I would love to restart the series from the beginning and see if I have as fond memories of it now as I did then. Next up, we have one by Kim Harrison, and that is the Hollows series. The first book is Dead Witch Walking. All of the creatures of the night gather in the hollows of Cincinnati to hide, prowl, and party and feed. Vampires rule the darkness, and a bounty hunter witch with serious sex appeal and attitude is bringing them back dead, alive, or undead. I have not read this one. I have seen it around and remember it circulating through and being really popular back when I was reading more of these types of books, but I never actually read this one. It sounds fun and entertaining, and I actually think I have the audiobook for it. Then we have one by Jennifer Estep. She has written a lot of different series. Some of them are more popular than others and newer than others, but the one that I have read before and remember enjoying is Spider's Bite, which is the Elemental Assassin series. And it follows Jen Blanco, who is a kick-butt female assassin who moonlights at a barbecue joint in Tennessee. And she searches for the person who is double-crossing her in this paranormal romance series. I remember enjoying these. They were a good time. I actually think I still own a few of them, but they're in the closet, which is why I don't have them out here with me. Another one that I remember enjoying is the Redheaded Stepchild series. This is by Jay Wells, and it is about our main character, Sabina, who is, I think, half human, half vampire, if I'm not mistaken. And she's the only person fit for the assassin profession, but her latest mission threatens the fragile peace between vampire and mage races, and she must scramble to figure out which side that she's on. She's never brought her work home with her until now. This was a lot of fun. I do remember that there is a side character in this one that I really enjoyed. I don't remember anything about him. I just remember that there was one. And then we have another one. Again, been a long time since I've read this. It's the Chicagoland Vampire series by Chloe Neal. The first one is Some Girls Bite, and it's about a Chicago graduate student who is introduced into the world of vampires. Merritt was doing fine until a road vampire attacked her, but he only got a sip before he was scared away, and then another bloodsucker comes in and decides the best way to save her life is to make her into one of the Walking Dead. Turns out her savior was the master vampire of this house, and now she's traded sweating over her thesis to learning to fit in at Hyde Park, which is a mansion full of vampires that are loyal to Ethan, this vampire lord. I loved Ethan when I read about him several years ago. He's just one of those like really snarky male main characters, and I love me some good snark. And I believe last but not least, we have the Side Changeling series by Nalini Singh. I think the first one in this series is Slave to Sensation. There are so many books in this series, and they also have a spinoff, but I believe that is the first one. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But this is about a world where emotions are denied. You cannot show any emotions, and if you are, then you're going to be punished for showing any signs of like a desire. So our main character must conceal her feelings that brand her as flawed. This is a world where people are both human and animal, and Lucas is a changeling hungry for the very sensations of side disdain. And these two races are now on the verge of war. I've heard really good things about this series. I know that it is a romance, but I'm not sure how heavy the romance is versus the plot of this story. Like I said, it's an oldie but a goodie. I've heard great things, but I have not personally read this one, so let me know if now is the time. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to let me know which ones of these you want me to read down in the comments. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 to vlog for you guys, and if it's super popular and you really enjoy it, I might do a round 2 in the future, because honestly, all of these are ones that I would love to either read again or try some of the newer ones that are out there. If there's something that you just really think that I should give a try that maybe wasn't on my radar or I didn't know about, let me know down in the comments, and if we decide to do a round 2, I might refilm a TBR and add some of those to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, my Patreon is down in the description box, as well as you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, all linked down below. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!